The next thing I kind of want to talk about is this idea of shelf life. One thing about digital design is it lasts a certain amount of time. Digital is not physical. It doesn't last forever. It can be on one day and it can be turned off the next. So, one of the first questions that we kind of ask in any given project is, how long does this thing need to last? Depending on the answer, we can get away with more or less. So let's say something needs to be around for 5 years. More than likely, we're going to treat our approach a little bit more conservatively than something that needs to last 5 days. Something on the shorter end lends itself to being a little bit different, where we should try different things, different structures, different navigations, different interfaces. You get to experiment a little bit more. From our experience, I think people are much more forgiving with things if they know they don't have to interact with it on a daily basis. It could be because they know it's not going to last forever, and all of a sudden they become much more appreciative of experiencing something a bit more out of the norm. It kind of treats the occasion a little bit more special. So, so in that regard, you can do things with a bit more of a wow factor, or a trendy factor, or something that maintains their attention for that short period of time. But by keeping that in mind, it lets you try out and test what could otherwise be seen as impractical in a more commonplace manner. And, of course, similarly along the lines of shelf life is understanding that digital solutions lend themselves to phased rollouts. Given the reality of schedules or budgetary constraints, sometimes you might have to make a compromise of what you can get done from a design, functionality, and development standpoint. But, instead of just scrapping the feature or function, why not just add it into a separate phase or a phase down the road? Because there are no physical considerations or distribution hurdles, and that practically everything is instant, adding things along the way makes perfect sense. Digital solutions are constantly changing, whether it be a simple bug fix or something more complex like improving the way information is structured and organized. A digital solution becomes a living thing, maturing and evolving. There's almost an expectation of the occasional change just to maintain its current relevance. And so beyond all of that, what kind of provides our ability to stay nimble is not having to worry about content updates. More often than not, we will provide the clients themselves the tools to make updates to their own projects. We will give them the access in a very straightforward manner without the complications of most off-the-shelf systems. It basically allows us to be free of the requirement for constant updates. Not only that, from our perspective, it gives ownership to the client. They get to take control of their project, and eventually they get to make as many updates as they want as they see fit, without the reliance of someone else to carry them out. So we try to build our solutions in such a way where it can eventually scale if necessary, and it can eventually be updated by other developers. When we can, we try to keep everything open. So this work approach has kind of framed how we approach our projects. And that's kind of what I want to talk about next, is how all those things that we've kind of learned and done have applied themselves in the practical sense.